We're going to need a hat for this one. We need a hat for this one. Far out. Canyon is doing a recall, a stop riding. If you have the latest Canyon Aeroroad handlebars, do not ride. Stop riding them. That's the issue from Canyon. I think it's fantastic they've done this. It showed they didn't have to. They didn't have to do this recall, stop riding notice, whatever you want to call it. So let's dive deep into this one, give some full context here. Oh, man, I warned people, I think it was last year, I said, people asked me my opinions on new Canyon Aeroroad, and I'm like, it's got so many unproven, untested in the real world, in my opinion, parts to it, the handlebars, the seat post design, there's so many rooms for error. And that just doesn't go for a Canyon product. That can go for any brand name, Specialized, Cannondale, Pinarello, Trek, off the top of my head, anyone, you know what I mean? That's why when I'm selling my bikes, I sell products that have been proven, that actually been tested in the real world. There's one thing to have an engineer, employ an engineer or whoever in Germany or China or Italy or whatever, Australia, and get something engineered. But there's another thing at factory level in China, in Vietnam, in Cambodia, in India, where all the carbon's coming from these days from the top level bikes, top price tag bikes, S-Works, made in China, etc. Now, nothing wrong with that, but it's a fact. And Taiwan is more for shipping and parts assembly, right, and less tariffs. So you make your product in Asia, so China, Vietnam, Cambodia, you ship it to Taiwan, less punitive tariffs, less dumping tax, and then Taiwan to Australia, US. Right? So made in Taiwan means parts assembled in Taiwan, not the frame and fork, which are made in China, etc. So Canyon is a reseller. They're buying Chinese made parts, which is no problem with that. Everyone does that. And they're reselling it. And so I said, this new bike coming out, so much proprietary stuff. And that's why, I've had problems with proprietary S-Works product and stuff. So that's why I created my own brand, Pragma, to sell non-proprietary and the most proven. My frames are literally the most tested, most proven frames you can get, money can buy in 2021. Carbon. Can you think of another brand out there selling a more proven product in 2021? I can't. What's the new SL7 tarmac like? We don't know. It's still early days. Only when you have thousands of riders, or hundreds of riders at least, riding your product over a few years, can you really say this works? Yeah, that's why I don't envy these big brands, because the pressure from the consumer and the shareholders, etc., to release new product. What's in the Tour de France? What's in the Dauphiné? Or what's at Paris-Roubaix? People want to consume. And I get that, but we've reached a ceiling many, many years ago on product quality, and now we've reached that ceiling. Now we're going left and right into new territory. Aero carbon bars, which is the biggest joke ever, with proprietary designs, with cables that go through the bars, and this whole it's a recipe for disaster. And then, to cut costs, you got to manufacture it, at a certain rate and quotes, and it's just a recipe for disaster. I do not recommend unproven carbon product. Even alloys a little bit, but carbon, it's just so many things can go wrong with the handlebars and seat posts. So many things go wrong with that. In my opinion, stick with proven stuff, which means you won't be riding the latest because it's unproven. Right? It doesn't matter if it's been in the wind tunnel or a pro rider does an Instagram post with it. It doesn't mean anything, it means it looks cool, that's about it. It doesn't mean it's going to be safe. It may or may not be. It doesn't matter if it's been engineered by an engineer. Like, that's one product. Like, what about thousands of units out there? And there's, things happen. So this isn't a video to diss Canyon. This is just unlucky for them. They've had the seat post issue. Canyon's just unlucky. It could have been Specialized or Cervelo. It could have been any other brand. And Canyon's got unlucky. They just got unlucky with the seat post design that was proprietary. But other brands do proprietary seat posts as well. It's just, this luck of the draw. It's not a sign that Canyon's... I know people on the forums, Canyon belongs in the canyon, like at the bottom of the canyon. No, you can't say that. It could happen to any brand out there who's selling unproven new product. By unproven, the context, I mean, as I've gone on about it again, it has to be ridden by hundreds or thousands of riders over many years, and everyone's like, thumbs up, this is good, no worries here. That's proven. That's Pragma. That's Pragma bikes, proven stuff. People are like, yep, this stuff works. So that's the price you pay. But man, like, can you imagine let's have some empathy here. Being at Canyon and making the call. Like, can you imagine the stress and the tension? Now the bike shops, because Canyon doesn't have bike shops, they're retail, online only, which is fine. Now bike shops around the world are like, well, how do they pay the bill for this? Like, you got to do a handlebar swap, and then what you got to do, you got to rebleed your front hydraulic hose, and you know what I mean? It's like, this isn't a simple bar swap that anyone can do. This is complex work. You got to have torque wrenches and all sort. And have you ever changed a hydro line? And it is the most hated job in any bike shop, and it's probably one of the most expensive as well. People, because it's so much faffing around. You know, rebuilding a wheel is pretty straightforward. You know that spoke tension, blah blah blah. But having to thread things through and then the brake doesn't. It's just, oh my mamma mia. So that's an issue. And then all these carbon bars are just going to get stomped on, chucked to landfill. You know, and so for me, I'm a huge fan. I'm a huge proponent of carbon product. I believe in it strongly, but carbon bars, I don't. It's just they're too fragile. There's too much room for error. Carbon forks, carbon frames, fantastic. Great stuff. I've never ever seen a carbon frame fail, ever, from power to all mileage. I've seen them snap in half, hitting a gutter. I've seen people put them in a clamp and snap them. For sure, crack there. Seen people overdoing the seat post too much and then cracking this carbon seat post, but I've never seen a carbon frame fail from a sprint effort or whatever. I've seen rear alloy dropouts bust and titanium frames bottom brackets shear off, but never with carbon. So carbon forks as well, very, very strong, infinite fatigue life pretty much. Ring of death though, that's what sabotages carbon fork, or uncut steer of a short shallow plug. Person over torques it, hits a bump, bang, failure, visits a dentist. So that happens, but in terms of otherwise, carbon's fantastic. Straight, downhill, cross-country mountain bike bar, straight, no worries, very strong. Once you start curving it, in that curve there, ooh, damn, you know, risky business, Tom Cruise. So if you're riding one of these bikes, stop, don't ride it, but you're probably going to have a backup bike anyway. But like I said last year, you know, if you want the best bikes out there, buy my buyer's guide. I hate to be salesy, but go to durianrider.com, get my bike buyer's guide. That's got the proven product in there. The product you're not really going to have an issue with, or very, very unlikely to have one. If you want the latest and greatest, you are the beta tester. Right? You are the beta tester. When you buy the latest bike, yeah, you get kudos at the cafe or Instagram for a month or two, but you become the beta tester. The new Shimano Durace 12-speed, people are going to be like, oh, I might even get a group set first up. Who knows? But we are the beta testers. Will the Durace cranks fail like the other ones have? We will find out. The beta testers, the customers will find out. We shouldn't have to, but that's just how it is. I feel the bike industry is becoming more like the automotive industry with proprietary, hard user serviceable products. It's you know, cycling for me is about freedom. It's about fun. It's about health, fitness, safety, community, social. It's all these positive things, and these hard to service parts, proprietary wank tanks. It's just, it makes me cringe. I couldn't work in a bike shop these days. I mean, I'd find it very, very tough. Some of the product out there is just, you know, it's just deplorable. We could call it that or whatever. Anyway, that's the video. Tip of the hat to Canyon for making the recall, the announcement, whatever you want to call it. They didn't have to do that. It's tough. They're unlucky. You got Mathieu van der Poel, like the most watched rider. Him and Froome and you know, those other guys, Sagan. You know, that's just the worst. Yeah, it's the best to have those guys of your product, but then if there's a failure, it's like all eyes on that. You know, and then the forums just like running wild with stuff. So I like to be fair and say this isn't a problem of Canyon. This is a problem that any brand can have, and I hope we understand that. But carbon bars, man, carbon road bars, bad idea. And this also could be a bad batch of Shimano, you know, bands, clamp bands for the shifters. It could be a bad batch of them. They've maybe not filed back down properly, and they're cutting into carbon bars. You know what I mean? This could be happening on S-Works Aero fly bar, whatever you call it, any minute now. Or it's probably already happening. We just don't know about it because Mathieu van der Poel wasn't riding it. Don't ride carbon road bars. You know, if you're over 65 kilo, if you're a strong rider, if you're hitting bumps, you cobbles, you're racing, you're crashing, you're traveling. If you're just like, yeah, one of those riders, if you're like, don't ride carbon bars, ride alloy. If you're like faces like, no carbon, please, no carbon bars. Natasha rides carbon bars on her bike. She's a ballerina. She's like, you know, she can handle it. But otherwise people you're going to have some issues there. That's the video. Thanks for watching. Share your comments down below. Where to next? I want the industry to go back to alloy bars, one piece, normal stem, two piece I should say. None of this proprietary cockpit stuff. It's a nightmare to work on. It's environmentally unsound. It's unproven. It costs too much. It's pointless. Why do we need a one piece bar stem combo? You can't even get the proper rotation in your hands properly. It's a nightmare.